For topic 8, we are going to look at volume of conjoined solids. So the first question we have to kind of ask ourselves is, what in the world does this word conjoined mean? That means they're joined together, united, or linked. I kind of think of, it's kind of crazy, but I think of conjoined twins. Those are twins that normally when they're born, they're like connected at the arm or something like, but they're conjoined twins. So when we talk about conjoined solids, that means that they're connected in some way. So normally I have two solids or more that I need to find the volume of and combine them. So the other thing that I know is that two things could happen. They could be connected, where I'm going to add, so they're going to be connected to each other. For example, this shape here and this shape here. Those look like they're connected. I took one solid and I made it bigger. The other way I could do is if I put one inside the other. That would be like this cube that I put a ball into. So let's look at some examples as what we're going to do to solve these problems. The first shape that I'm going to look at is this cylinder. And what I notice is that I have a cylinder inside of a cylinder because they took a cylinder, which is a circle. If I look at it from the top view, if I'm looking up here, let's put some eyes on it with a smiley face, and I'm looking down below, what I normally see is I see this. And we talked about this with the area of a shaded region. I found the area of the big circle and I subtracted the area of the small circle to find out what the area in between this donut shape would be, or this tire. So what we're going to do now is do the kind of the same thing, only I'm going to take the cylinder shape, the big one, and I'm going to subtract the small one. So let's look at what formula we're going to need. When I look at my formula sheet, I know that I'm dealing with volume. So the first thing that I want to do is find the volume of the big cylinder. And I'm going to use volume equals pi r squared h. Pi, my radius goes from here all the way to the end, so it's not going to be 10, it's going to be 5 feet. My height is going to be 15. When I plug that into my calculator, which I'm going to do over here, I'm actually going to leave the pi off for now and see what I get. I get 5 squared, oh, that's not a squared, 5 squared, and I'm going to multiply that by 15, and I get 375. So the volume of the big cylinder is 375, and don't forget my pi, because I didn't multiply pi in over here. You guys don't see a pi anywhere, so I'm just going to leave it on the end. Now I'm going to change colors to kind of make this a little easier, hopefully. If I look at the small cylinder, my volume formula doesn't change. It's still pi r squared h. Now my height also hasn't changed. It's still 15. My radius goes from the center all the way to this edge. Well, I know the whole thing is 5, this is 1, so this has to be 4 feet. So my radius in this case is 4 feet. So when I put that in my calculator, I'm going to get 4 squared times 15 for 240 pi. Now if I want to know what this combination of figures makes, I'm going to take 375 pi and I'm going to subtract 240 pi. Now when I do that, I get 135 pi. Now if I want to know what that is in my calculator, because just in case they give me a decimal, I can just type in 135 pi and I get 424.12 feet. So these are my two acceptable answers. You got to always make sure what your answer choices have on there. Sometimes they have a pi and sometimes they don't. Let's look at the next example. This example is of when shapes are on top of each other. These are actually solids, but when the solids are on top of each other. If I'm looking at this ice cream cone, oh, amazing ice cream, right? How many cubic centimeters of ice cream and cone could I possibly eat? Now, I have two things I need to look at here. I'm going to need to look at the cone and the sphere. And really, it's a hemisphere, so it's a half a sphere. So let's go ahead and pull up our formulas and see what I'm dealing with. So now that I have my formulas from above, here's my cone and the volume of a cone, and my sphere and the volume of a sphere. So I'm actually going to move these up, I think. Let's move this up to here. Move this one up because I'm going to use the formulas right below it. Okay, so if I look at the volume of a cone, volume equals 1/3 pi r squared h. Well, let's see what we have. 1/3 pi r squared. R, this is the diameter again, right? So I need my radius, so my radius is going to be 4. My height of my cone is 12. Now I'm going to plug that into my calculator and let's see what we get. I'm going to start with alpha y equals, because that's going to give me my 1/3, and I'm going to leave the pi out again because I can, and I'm going to get 4 squared plus, oh, not plus, my bad, times 12. And I get 64. So right now, my cone is 64 pi. Now my sphere, this is a little tricky because I need half of it. I need to take half of 4/3 times pi. I figured my radius to be 4, so I'm going to plug that in. Cubed. Now I'm going to do everything except for my pi in the calculator, and let's see what we get. Alpha y equals 1/2 of, I can do alpha y equals again, my formula is 4/3 times 4 cubed. And I get 128/3. That's going to probably give me a decimal. And if I wanted to leave it, I can leave it either way because I'm going to plug it in and put it in my calculator. 128/3 pi. Now notice I already took half, so when I put these together, I'm going to actually add them together because I'm not taking it away, I'm putting them together. So let's just plug that into my calculator with pi. I'm going to leave the 128/3 just because I like it a little bit better. Fractions are nicer to work with. 64 pi plus alpha y equals, because that gives me that fun fraction so I don't have to worry about stuff, 128/3 times pi. And when I plug that all in, if I ate the entire ice cream cone, I would be eating 335.1 cubic centimeters. But I do have one more question down here. How much of the ice cream is left after I've eaten 1/4 of it? Well, there are 4 quarters in a dollar. That's how I remember a quarter is 1/4. And I multiply 1/4 times 335.1. Now it's nice because it's technically still on my calculator, so I can take this and just divide it by 4. And how much did I eat? I ate 83.78. So let's check to see what it asked me, because this is always important. How much of the ice cream is left? So I've eaten that much, so how much is left? If I didn't want to do 1/4, I could also have multiplied it by 3/4 of 335.1 and see what I get that way. So alpha y equals 3/4 of 335.1 is 251.33 cubic centimeters. So what am I actually looking at here? This is how much I ate. And this is how much I have left. So my answer would be this. So you have to be careful that you actually read the questions and make sure you've answered what they're asking. So go do your practice.